Thinking about visiting Stonehenge? In this episode, Doug and I chat all about how to plan your trip, from how to get there and what to expect, to the best tours, tips for visiting, and whether it's really worth it. If Stonehenge is on your list, this one's for you.
Welcome to the UK Travel Planning Podcast. Your host is the founder of the UK Travel Planning website, Tracy Collins. In this podcast, Tracy shares destination guides, travel tips, and itinerary ideas, as well as interviews with a variety of guests who share their knowledge and experience of UK travel to help you plan your perfect UK vacation. Join us as we explore the UK from cosmopolitan cities to quaint villages, from historic castles to beautiful islands, and from the picturesque countryside to seaside towns.
Hello and welcome to the UK Travel Planning Podcast. This week we've got a fun and informative episode all about visiting one of the UK's most iconic landmarks, Stonehenge. But I'm not going it alone. Doug's here too.
Hello.
Because he's also visited a few times, and so we thought this would be a good chance to have a natter and answer some of the most common questions we are asked about visiting Stonehenge. So we're going to talk about what Stonehenge is, why it's so significant, how to get there, the best ways to visit, and some extra tips for first-timers. Plus, we're going to compare Stonehenge with Avebury, which is another stone circle we've both been to as well. So we thought we'd definitely want to talk about Avebury as well. So whether you're visiting from London, Bath or beyond, this episode has everything you need to know for a smooth and memorable Stonehenge experience. So the first thing we're going to talk about basically is what is Stonehenge and why is it significant? So Doug, fill us in then, what is Stonehenge?
Well, basically it's a prehistoric stone circle located in the southern English county of Wiltshire in England.
Yep.
Well, then it was constructed between 3000 BC and 1600 BC and is one of the most famous monuments in the world.
Yes.
And it's a UNESCO World Heritage Site.
Yeah, I was going to say it's a UNESCO World Heritage Site as well. And I think it's probably one of the most popular destinations that we have questions about. I think I read somewhere that they have nearly 1 million visitors a year, which is incredible. Yeah, absolutely incredible. So it's really famous because of a number of things. So because it has alignment with the solstices, which we're going to talk about in a second. Yeah. Basically, there's a lot of mystery about how it was constructed. And of course, effort it took to bring the stones from so many miles away. So it all make it hugely important. So what do we know about the alignment? Okay,
yeah, well, the effort, even in today's standards, it would be a big effort to actually put it together. So the stones align with the sunrise on the summer solstice, which is the 21st of June, and also on the winter solstice, the 21st of December. And considering when it was built, it's pretty remarkable.
It's crazy. And also, I have to say that if you are planning to visit Stonehenge, this is not the time of year to plan your visit. So do not go there or do not try and plan a visit on the solstices because it is incredibly busy. It's a very popular time of year, obviously, to visit, and it has quite significance for some people. So therefore, we would really recommend that you don't go. Now, what is it about the stones? Because there's two types of stones, aren't there?
That's right, yes. There's sarsen stones, which are from the Marlborough Downs, which is about 25 miles away. And then there's the bluestones all the way from Wales, which is about 150 miles away.
Yeah, so it's incredible, isn't it, to think that people manage to move the stones that sort of distance, the size of them. And I think that's the thing, when you see the size of them, you just get kind of blown away. And quite a lot of people will kind of say, a lot of British people actually say, Stonehenge, whatever. But I just think there's such a mystique and a mystery around it.
There really is. And when you're actually standing nearby, you can actually almost feel, there's something magical about them, I think.
Yeah, no, I think absolutely true. So, which is why, because I'm going to answer in facts later about whether it's worth going, but I've been a number of times and I always enjoy going to Stonehenge. I think it's an incredible place to visit. It is different. I'm actually just going to throw this in here because I first went to Stonehenge probably about 35 years ago. And at that point, you could walk right up to the stones. There was literally me. I parked up, just walked across the road and the stones were there. Now it's a completely different experience. And that's what we're going to talk about next. We're going to talk about what it's like, when you actually arrive at Stonehenge.
And then the days before the visitor centre was put in.
Yeah, and that's what we're going to talk about, how things have changed over the last few years. So what to know if you actually, when you arrive at Stonehenge itself. Okay, so I've been to the Stones 3 times in recent years, and I've done it each time differently. So I've been by car. I've driven my own car there. I have been on the bus from Salisbury, which you and I did. And I've also been on a tour with the English bus, which I am going to talk to a little bit more about later. So, but each of the time, basically the same. You have the same experience when you arrive, in that you arrive at the visitor centre.
That's right, yeah. If you pre-bought your tickets and present, it can go quite busy there, though.
Yes.
We arrived, and I think a couple of coaches had arrived at the same time, so it can be quite busy.
It can be incredibly busy, and I would recommend that you do buy your tickets ahead of time. Like if you're going to try and arrive and just buy a ticket, you may end up not being able to get a slot. I would just say that. So I would say buy a ticket, especially at busy times of year like the summer. It's always busy there at Stonehenge. It doesn't matter when you go.
That's right.
So when you arrive, there's the visitor centre. Now, the visitor centre, there's a cafe, there's the public restrooms, and
well, the inevitable gift shop.
Yeah, there's a gift shop.
Yeah.
The gift shop has got some fantastic things in it.
Yeah,
I will put some photos in the show notes because I took loads of photos of the cute things I've got in the gift shop. But depending on if you want to have a little drink before you go out, or depending on the weather, or if you want to go straight out to the Stones, you can walk to them. So the visitor centre is actually a mile and a half from the Stones itself.
Yeah, it is. We took the opportunity on that last visit to have a good look around the museum first, which I have to say I think it's recommended to do.
Yeah.
Because I just think it fills you with awe. I think, look, the size of these stones, how did they get them there?
Yeah.
And,
absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, it talks about the whole area as well. It's not just literally about Stonehenge itself.
Yeah, and its importance. Yeah, absolutely. And so you can look around the museum, and then outside there's some Neolithic houses.
Yeah.
So you can go and inspect those as well. And there's a stone that you can have a try at pulling, which you're not going to pull.
No.
But it gives you an example, like the size of it. The sheer size is incredible. Yeah. And then from there's a shuttle service which will take you. So you can walk, but there's a shuttle service that'll take you out to the Stones. Now, we've always taken the shuttle.
We've always taken the shuttle, yeah. It's worth bearing in mind, you can't actually see Stonehenge from the visitor centre.
No, that's a good point. You can't.
So you drive to the car park, you see the visitor centre, and don't expect you can be able to see Stonehenge straight away.
No, you can't. No, that's true. That's a good point. So you can walk. It's about a mile and a half, I would say. So it takes about 15, 20 minutes or so. As I say, we've not walked it. We've always taken the shuttle bus. Don't worry if you miss a shuttle bus when you're standing, because they come every 10 minutes. There's a shuttle bus, so you can get up there. And then once you get up and off the shuttle bus, you'll see Stonehenge then.
Yeah.
And then you walk through up a path, and then you've got to keep within designated areas. You're not allowed to go inside the kind of roped off area unless you're doing a special tour, which are available. Otherwise you can't do that, and they're kind of early in the morning or later in the evening, those special tours where you can have the inner circle access. But generally, if you buy a general access ticket to Stonehenge, you can't go within that kind of inner area.
Yeah, kept to the perimeter.
Yeah.
And it's all very clearly marked, isn't it? But you've got a good view. You
have a really good view, and you get very close to the heel stone actually. But you walk all the way around, so you get all to see the stones really well. You can't touch them, and I'm just going to say this: you cannot touch them whether you do the inner circle access tour or not. You're not allowed to touch the stones. That's very important.
So you can take as many photos and videos as you like.
You can take photos, videos. No drones are allowed. You can't take dogs, except guide dogs aren't allowed in. It's Stonehenge.
The path is flat, isn't it, as well? It's a grass path, isn't it, around the perimeter?
So it's covered in like a plastic mesh type of stuff. But if it has been raining, it does get muddy. That's one thing I will say about that path, because I was there in early January or late January, early February, and it was a little bit muddy.
So it's worth taking a few items of clothing just in case the weather does change.
Well, I would say that, and that's a real good tip to share about if you're visiting Stonehenge, you're exposed, it's out in the open. If it's raining, you're going to get wet. If it's windy, you're going to get, you'll get blown away, which I did one time when I went before. In fact, there's pictures of me in January and it was very breezy. It was raining and it was a bit chilly, but we've been in summer.
I was just going to say the opposite is true. We're actually there in summer and take a hat and some sunblock.
Yeah, because it can be...
And have a drink of water as well.
Yeah, take water. But I will say the weather can change quickly, because I was there end of January, beginning of February, and it was raining, and the next minute the sun came out, and it was... So you just don't know, but it was cold. It was very cold, and there's pictures of me looking like, I'm very wrapped up with my layers on, and bring a waterproof jacket, whatever time of year, actually, because I visited different times of year, and always have my waterproof jacket with me.
And some shoes with some good tread on, then, if you say it can get a little bit slippery if it's wet.
Yeah, and a little bit muddy. Yeah, it was definitely muddy. But so all in all, really, you arrive at the visitor centre, you can spend a bit of time there before you go out to the stones, or you can go see the stones and then go back to the visitor centre. But I'd highly recommend that you do spend some time looking around the museum, having a look at the Neolithic houses, reading up about Stonehenge. I would say give yourself 2 hours, would you say?
That's it. You're not rushed, are there?
No.
There's nobody standing pushing you around. It's,
no. You can walk round and round and round if you want. You could just keep going round and round and round and looking at the stones. There's nobody kind of saying you can only be here for 5 minutes, 20 minutes, half an hour, whatever. And you can jump on any shuttle bus back.
So, to get to Stonehenge...
Yeah, so that's our next section that we're going to talk about. So we've kind of talked about what they are and their significance. We've talked about what happens when you arrive. So now the next section we're talking about is actually how to get there.
Yeah.
So we're going to talk about how to get there from London first. We are going to just cover how to get there from Bath as well, because I know a lot of you might be considering going to Stonehenge from Bath, because it is pretty easy. So we're going to talk about a few options.
Yeah. So the first one coming from London, you'll be coming out to London Waterloo is the station from there. So you'll about an hour and a half train from Waterloo to Salisbury.
Oh, so the first option is to take the train?
Well, it is for me.
I was going to say, you didn't mention, you just kind of went into Waterloo.
I'm a train man, so train's always the first option.
I was going to say, the first option is to take the train, kind of jumped in there and told you how to do it. But yes, London Waterloo, Salisbury, it doesn't take about an hour and a half.
Yeah.
And then once you arrive in Salisbury, what you can do is you can take a taxi if you want to Stonehenge, or you can there's a kind of shuttle tour bus, which we've done, and we enjoyed that. It was actually quite good, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was a double-decker bus, and there's a commentary points as well. You can have earphones, you can listen when they talk about parts. The trip on the way to
also
Salisbury.
And past. So actually, what's really interesting about that tour bus as well is that it's a loop. So it pulls into Stonehenge. You can get off at Stonehenge, and then I don't know how many, every half an hour or so. I'm not 100% sure of the time now, but it actually will come back to Stonehenge, and you can jump on it and then go back to Salisbury to get the train. Now we did that a few years ago when we were actually travelling to Exeter from Winchester and Portsmouth, and we decided to stop off at Stonehenge. So we had our luggage with us. So what did we do with our luggage?
So just outside Salisbury train station, there's a turning circle there, and there's a hotel.
Yeah. Restaurant, I think it was.
Yeah, seconds away from the station. And we left our luggage there.
Yeah. I think it was a restaurant, but it was at the bottom of the hill, and we just left it. We left our luggage there, and it
wasn't at the bottom of it, about halfway down.
It was about halfway down. I remember we bought tickets for Stonehenge on the bus as well, and this was June, so we managed to we bought the Stonehenge tour bus and the entry tickets to Stonehenge. I think if you can have your own entry tickets to Stonehenge and just take the tour bus, which will get you there. But that's what we did. We just booked it. We kind of winged it. Just decided to add it in and try it out. And actually it worked out all right. But I would say if you plan to do that, do check, because you might need to buy the tickets ahead of time.
Yes.
But I think you can always buy them on the bus. So that's what we did. I think the whole route takes about an hour to do the loop, and maybe about half an hour to get to Stonehenge or so.
I think it took us a bit longer because there was roadworks at the time.
Yeah. But it's worth having a look around Salisbury as well. I'm just going to throw that in there.
Salisbury itself, the cathedral is very big.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. So you could do that. You could do that on a day trip from London. We've talked about quite often about day trips that you can take by train. So you could go out to Salisbury, go to Stonehenge, and then go back to Salisbury and back to London. You could do a coach is another possible way to do it. But honestly, it takes over 3 hours just one way. So I wouldn't recommend it. That's probably my least
take
favourite.
the train.
Yeah, well, least recommended way to do it. Well, the other way you could do it is by car, because I know a lot of you will be considering adding in Stonehenge when you're a part of a road trip around the UK. So one thing I will just say to this, if you plan to do this, and I've actually got friends that live near Stonehenge, is just be very careful with the roads, because they get very, very congested and very, very busy, particularly around weekends and public holiday times and school holidays. So just be really aware of that. There is free parking at Stonehenge if you're an English Heritage or National Trust member. If you've got your ticket ahead of time, you don't have to pay. If you don't have a ticket and you plan to buy at Stonehenge and you've got a car, there is a fee. I think it's about £5, but you can get a refund when you buy your ticket. But they will charge you for parking if you haven't got your ticket before you arrive.
Yeah, so driving is a flexible option. I mean, that gives you more time. You're not rushed.
Yeah, that's it. I mean, and a lot of people will choose to do that, and I think it is a good option. Another option from London is to take an organised tour. Now, we have got partners that we work with who do this. So we've got My Tailored Tours. If you're thinking about a private tour from London, we highly recommend with My Tailored Tours, and I will put a link in the show notes. And for a small group tour, I'm going to talk about the English Bus in a moment, because I actually went out with them in January and had an absolutely amazing day. So I'm going to talk about how good that was. But I do want to just throw this into this podcast, because I think it's important. There are a lot of tour companies that will offer larger tour companies that will offer Stonehenge, Bath and Windsor in a day. And really, I'm going to say, my opinion is that is too rushed. Trying to fit Windsor in with Stonehenge and Bath.
And that's the feedback we've had from others as well.
It's just, you're just not going to get, you're going to really get a flying visit around Windsor. And really, Windsor deserves a bit more time.
I mean, obviously, a rush visit may suit some, of course.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I'm going to say not do it at all. I'm just saying really consider it carefully. And if you can, and if you really want to do Bath and Stonehenge and Windsor, is to do Stonehenge and Bath on a tour, private tour, small group tour, and then do Windsor as a half-day tour from London, which is or even just independently from London. It's easy enough to do. Yeah. So that's one thing that I would just say, that just to be a bit more careful about if you're planning. Like if you're really rushed and you have very little few days and you really want to do Windsor, then and you don't want to pay for a private tour, then consider one of those larger coaches. But it would be my last option. One other option as well is that you could reserve XFA cars could provide a driver for the day as well. So if you just want to drive it, take you out to Stonehenge and Avebury, which we're going to talk about in a minute. Certainly he can give you a quote to take you from London by car to Stonehenge and Avebury. And I will put links in the show notes to both My Tailored Tours and for XFR cars. Are you planning your dream UK trip but feeling a little overwhelmed? Maybe you started putting together an itinerary but need help fine-tuning it, or you have questions about how to get around by car or by train. Perhaps you'd love to chat with experienced UK travellers to ensure you make the most of your time. Well, we've got you covered. Doug and I are excited to announce that our one-to-one UK trip consultations are now open for bookings for 2025. During these personalised sessions, we'll work with you to refine your itinerary and maximise your time, answer your questions about packing, transport, logistics, etc., suggest tours, activities and day trips tailored to your interests, and share tips and practical advice to make your trip unforgettable. After your session, we'll send you a personalised Google Sheet within 3 days with all the recommendations and tips discussed during our call. Now, if you're ready to plan your UK adventure with confidence, book your consultation today. Spots are limited, so don't wait. Head to our website at uktravelplanning.com to secure your session. We can't wait to help you plan the perfect UK trip.
And just while I mentioned that, mentioned the trains from Waterloo, equally easy if you're coming from Bath, from the west. It's easy.
Yeah, well, I was going to talk about from Bath as well, because if you want to do it from Bath, I would recommend, again, you could talk to Daniel of Bath Insider Tours, and he could do a private tour. He's got options from Bath that would take from Bath to get you to Stonehenge, but you can do it by train, which is what I want you to do to kind of talk about.
Yeah, it's just as easy. Yeah. There's no issues. It's a very straightforward train journey. Takes over an hour, just about an hour, not much more.
And so if you do the train from Bath, again, you could pick up the Stonehenge tour bus from outside the train station. That's where it stops.
It's the same
I think I
station.
didn't say that before, but actually you can pick the tour bus up. It waits outside Salisbury train station.
Yeah, there's like a car park turning circle in front of the station.
Yeah.
So easy to find. It parks literally outside the station building.
Yeah, so I'm just going to talk a little bit about my experience with the English bus, because I did a tour with them end of January, February, which was lovely. They invited me to go out for a day. So they are partners, and I have got a discount code, but you have to go through the link, which I'll put in the show notes, and put the code on, which again will be in the show notes. But it was a fantastic trip, small coach. We went out to Stonehenge first, then to Bath, and then we went to a secret place, which I'm not going to share with you because it's a secret. But that was fantastic. It was a really, really good day out. We had the advantage of a guide, and if you get to Stonehenge, you can have earphones if you go independently, but I want to know as much as I can about it, and having a guide is a really great way to do it. And also we had the advantage of being able to visit Bath as well and enjoy a few hours in Bath, which was fantastic. And then we went to the secret place on the way back to London. No stress, very easy, picked up from Victoria, just outside Victoria train station in the morning, and dropped off back there later on in the day. So I would highly recommend that. Very, very good company. We only work with the best. So if you want more information about the English bus, please go through the link on the show notes, because they were amazing. And they do other tours from London as well that you can check out. But I really wanted to do a big shout out for them, because they were it was just a brilliant, brilliant day.
Yeah, I remember you talking about it. You really enjoyed it.
Yeah, it was really, really good. So we're just going to talk in the next section a little bit about Stonehenge versus Avebury. Let's talk about what Avebury is. So Avebury it's also stone circles.
That's right. With one big difference.
Yeah.
To Stonehenge.
Yeah, go on then.
You can touch the stones.
You can touch the stones. You can go right up to the stones. You can walk through the fields, and there are more stones. There just seem to be stones everywhere when you go to Avebury.
Yeah.
I would say that sometimes in the fields there's sheep, so you do have
cows.
to, and sheep dung. So you have to
watch where you're walking.
You have to watch where you walk. But Avebury is, I don't know. It's also a very special place to go to. You can actually combine it if you've got your own car, or if you're doing a tour. Some tours will combine Avebury and Stonehenge. They're not very far apart. I think it's about, I don't even know, 25-minute drive between the two. There's parking at Avebury, and you either have to have the exact cash or you can pay. I think there's a visitor reception, the old farmyard, that you can pay by card for parking. There's a really nice pub as well that you can go to and have a pub lunch as well. Actually, it's about a 40-minute drive, thinking about it, between the two of them. But I'd highly recommend it. There's so many stones at Avebury.
There is,
and they're huge.
They are, and they're separate locations. And you're walking through and you think, well, where's the circle? And you step back and you go,
it's huge.
Now I see it. Okay, now I can see it. Yeah.
And also, I think the thing about Avebury is like the stones are all different sizes. They don't have the lintels that Stonehenge have.
Yeah. These are standing stones.
These are standing stones.
Yeah.
But I'd highly recommend going and having a look at Avebury as well if you can. As I say, you can find tours that will include both, or if you've got a car, I would encourage you to do that. And I know actually XFA Cars, Riz from XFA Cars has taken people out from London to Stonehenge and then on to Avebury and then back to London.
Yeah.
So some questions, because we get those are some of the frequently asked questions that we get in our Facebook group and via email. And the first one is really controversial.
Well, yeah, is Stonehenge worth it?
Yeah, I think so.
I do too.
I'm quite passionate about it, and I get a little bit of a downer when I hear, especially British people going, oh, it's just a pile of old rocks. I'm like, it's just, I have to say, I'm an ex-history teacher, so I'm not going to say anything other than it's absolutely worth it. I'm a little bit sad that over the last 30 years it has become so so popular and so so busy, but it does protected the stones now. English Heritage and National Trust, it went out of my head. So English Heritage and National Trust share ownership of some of the stones and then the land, I believe. So they actually look after the whole site. So if you are English Heritage or National Trust member, you do actually get free entry, I believe, to Stonehenge. Yes, because we've had that. So what about the best time to visit?
Well, I was just going to add on to that first one is we've heard people a little bit doubtful about going, and then when they've been there, they go, wow. Yeah, I'm so glad I went.
Yeah, that's true.
So yeah, backtracking on that one.
No, that's right. I think the main thing really is you just have to be prepared, because you need to think about the weather, I think, because if it's pouring down with rain, if you're not prepared, you've got to be prepared for the weather when you get there, because you're going to be out on the plane, Salisbury plane. So it's you need to just be aware of that. And if you're prepared, I think you'll enjoy it. And if you go to the museum, if you learn all about it, I think it's fascinating.
Yeah, you've got to delve into exactly what it is. Yeah.
Right. So go back to the next question. Sorry, because we get asked again, when should I visit, and how long should I go for? Well, I would say, early in the morning is best. I mean, it's spring and autumn is going to be slightly quiet, and summer's busy, isn't it? Summer's incredibly busy. Don't go during the solstices, which is said, and give yourself about 2 hours.
Yeah, I think 2 hours is probably about fair, 2 to 3 hours. It depends if you want to go and have some lunch there as well, because the food's actually nice in the cafe.
It is, yeah. So I know we've kind of touched on this before, but can I touch the stones?
Absolutely, categorically no.
Even if you've booked a special inner circle tour,
even then,
you can't touch them. No. Right. Do I need to book ahead? Well, okay, don't do the mistake that Doug and I did. Well, it wasn't a mistake, because we did get tickets and we jumped on the Stonehenge tour bus and got tickets then. But honestly, I would recommend, in fact, you can book the bus. I think you can book the bus online ahead of time anyway and include the tickets in it. So I really would look at that, because I don't want you to miss out, especially in the summer. It's less of an issue in the winter, except around solstice time. But I would look at booking your tickets ahead of time, and don't do we winged it, and I shouldn't be telling you that, but
no.
But that's what we did. But we were okay. We kind of added it in at the last minute, but as I say, I would recommend that you do that. What about combining it with something else? Absolutely.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, it's a good idea.
I mean, it's easy enough to see Salisbury. If you're taking a tour, you're probably going to see Bath as well. And if you've got your own car, then definitely look at doing Bath and combining it with Avebury as well. Okay, so let's end with the one question that we always answer at the end of it, which is the one tip that you would share with somebody visiting Stonehenge for the first time. So my tip, I don't know if you're going to come up with a different one. My tip is actually to dress for the weather. Honestly, dress. Make sure that you've got a raincoat or umbrella, raincoat and umbrella. Make sure you check what the weather's going to be like, and wear layers. If it's in the summer, take a hat and put sun cream on, because you're out in the open and you're exposed. And they say you're an hour and a half, you're a mile and a half from the visitor centre. So, you've got to be aware that you've got to be dressed correctly, and think about your footwear too. Have you got a different tip that you would share?
I'll just reinforce what we said before, really. To be really absorbed in the whole Stonehenge experience is to go around the museum first. Brilliant. And see what they have to say about how the stones got there, and what the significance, to believe, of Stonehenge it was to the people in that era.
Yeah, I think that's really good. Well, you've got 2 for the price of 1 there. You've got 2 excellent tips about Stonehenge. So thanks for joining us again for this week. We will put links and photographs in the show notes. I'm hoping to also get some videos on YouTube and our Instagram. There's definitely photographs on Instagram of Stonehenge, the times that I visited. You can see what I was wearing. You can see certainly in the end of January when it was a bit blowy, what it looked like. A few people have commented on a few of the photos saying it looked freezing, and it wasn't very warm. But again, just mentioning about making sure that you dress correctly. So you can find information in the show notes at uktravelplanner.com/episode 153. But that just leaves me and Doug to say until next week,
happy UK travel planning.
Thank you for tuning in to this week's episode of the UK Travel Planning Podcast. As always, show notes can be found at uktravelplanning.com. If you've enjoyed the show, why not leave us feedback via text or a review on your favourite podcast app? We love to hear from you, and you never know, you may receive a shout out in a future episode. But as always, that just leaves me to say, until next week, happy UK travel planning.